A tiger attacks once. An email can attack 100 times before lunch. Imagine you're walking through a forest, 20,000 years ago. No roads, no cities, no hospitals, just trees, and whatever's hiding between them. Then, something moves. You don't know what it is, but before you can find out, your heart is already beating faster. Your breathing becomes shallow. Every muscle prepares to move. It could be a tiger, or nothing at all. Now imagine you're sitting at your desk. Your phone vibrates. You haven't opened the email. You don't know who sent it. You don't know if it's good news, bad news, or something you'll forget 5 minutes from now. Yet, your attention snaps toward it. For a split second, everything else becomes less important. Those 2 moments couldn't look more different. One belongs in the wild, the other in your inbox. So why does your brain react to both? Because deep inside, your mind is a survival system that evolved long before offices, long before smartphones, long before civilization. It has one job: answer one question. Am I safe, or should I pay attention right now? That question helped your ancestors survive. Today, it follows you into meetings, classrooms, traffic, and every notification that lights up your screen. And that's where our story begins. For most of human history, survival wasn't about being the smartest, it was about being the fastest. Not the fastest runner, the fastest decision maker. Every day, your ancestors face the same problem. React too early, and you waste precious energy. React too late, and there may not be another chance. Evolution had to choose between two mistakes. Mistake number 1, running from the wind. Mistake number 2, standing still for a tiger. One mistake was embarrassing. The other disappeared from the gene pool. So generation after generation, evolution rewrote the rules. When in doubt, move first. Understand later. That's why the first question your brain asks isn't, "Is this dangerous?" It's, "Should I pay attention?" Because attention comes before understanding. And understanding only matters if you're still alive. That strategy worked almost perfectly. A rustle in the bushes, a sudden silence, a shadow where there wasn't one a second ago. Better to investigate and find nothing than ignore it and become something's next meal. Your ancestors survived, not because they were fearless, but because their brains treated uncertainty as something worth reacting to. And that's exactly what your brain is still doing today. Which leads to a strange question. If the tiger disappeared thousands of years ago, why is your brain still acting like it's out there? So, what happens in that split second, before you've identified the sound, before you've read the email, before you've had a conscious thought? Something inside your brain has already gone to work. Deep inside your brain is a small structure called the amygdala. It's often described as your brain's alarm system, but that's only half the story. Because an alarm has one job. It doesn't prove there's a fire. It warns you there might be one. That's exactly how your amygdala works. It isn't waiting for certainty. It can't afford to. Instead, it asks one simple question. Could this matter? If the answer is even, maybe, it starts preparing your body. Your heart beats faster, your breathing changes, your muscles prepare to move. All before your conscious mind asks, "What's going on?" To us, that sounds impatient. To evolution, it was brilliant, because the world that shaped your brain rewarded speed, not certainty. Waiting for perfect information sounds intelligent, unless the thing you're waiting to identify has teeth. But here's where almost everyone gets it wrong. Your brain isn't built to detect danger. It's built to detect uncertainty. Danger is only one kind of uncertainty. A sound you can't explain. A face you don't recognize. A phone call at midnight. An email with no subject line. Different situations. Same ancient question. Should I pay attention? And once that question is asked, your body prepares first. The explanation comes later. Suddenly, the title of this video starts to make a little more sense, but it also creates a bigger mystery. If your brain reacts to uncertainty, why can something as harmless as a notification leave you mentally exhausted? Here's where the modern world changes everything. Imagine you receive 2 emails. The first contains bad news. You already know what's inside. It won't be pleasant, but the waiting is over. The second email might contain bad news, or good news, or nothing important at all. You don't know. Which one keeps your mind occupied longer? For most people, it's the second one, because certainty gives your brain an ending. Uncertainty keeps the story alive. That's why an unread email can stay in your mind for hours, while one you've already dealt with disappears in minutes. The stress doesn't come from the message, it comes from the unanswered question. Your boss says, "Can we talk?" No context. Your phone rings at midnight. No voicemail. A doctor calls and says, "I'd like to discuss your results." Different situations. Same ancient alarm. Your brain fills in the blanks. It imagines possibilities. It prepares for futures that may never happen. Thousands of years ago, that imagination kept your ancestors alive. If the bushes were hiding a tiger, assuming the worst wasn't pessimism, it was preparation. But today, the bushes have changed. They're hidden behind glowing screens, subject lines, missed calls, 3 little dots that say, "Someone is typing." Different world, same prediction machine. Your brain isn't reacting to what's happening. It's reacting to what might happen next. And that's the exhausting part. Because unlike the tiger, an unanswered notification can follow you all day. Here's the difference your ancestors never faced. A tiger attacked, then it was over. You escaped. Or you didn't. Either way, the story ended. Your heart slowed, your breathing settled, your body recovered. That's something modern life rarely allows. Today, the tiger doesn't leave. It just changes its disguise. One email, then another, one notification, then 3 more. A missed call, a calendar reminder, a message that says, "We need to talk." Before you've dealt with one uncertainty, another takes its place. Your brain never gets the signal that the danger has passed, not because you're surrounded by predators, but because you're surrounded by maybes. And maybes don't disappear. They wait. In your inbox, on your lock screen, in the tab you haven't closed, in the message you haven't answered yet. That's why you can spend an entire day sitting in a chair and still feel completely drained. Your muscles may have been resting. Your survival system wasn't. It kept asking the same question, over and over and over again. Should I deal with this now? That's the hidden cost of modern life. Not more danger, more unanswered questions. And your ancient brain was never built to carry that many at once. At this point, it might sound like your brain has a design flaw. It doesn't. In fact, it may be one of evolution's greatest survival systems. Think about a smoke detector. Sometimes it goes off because the house is on fire. Sometimes it's just burnt toast. Annoying? Absolutely. Broken? Not at all. Because a smoke detector has one job. Go off before it's too late. Your brain runs on the same logic. Somewhere out there, Thousands of years ago, a hunter froze at a sound that turned out to be nothing. He felt foolish for a moment. Then he kept walking. Another hunter heard the same sound and didn't react. He never got the chance to feel foolish. That's the whole trade evolution made. False alarms were cheap. Missing a real one wasn't. So evolution never built a perfect brain. It built a cautious one. A brain willing to be wrong. Again and again. If it meant staying alive one more day. And for hundreds of thousands of years, that trade paid off. It helped your ancestors avoid predators, protect their families, and survive long enough to pass that brain on to you. The problem was never the trade. The problem is, the world changed, faster than evolution ever could. Your ancestors braced for danger a few times a week. You brace for it a few times an hour. Same brain. A world it never signed up for. So your brain isn't overreacting. It's doing exactly what it was built to do, in a place it was never built for. And once you see it that way, the question changes. It stops being, "What's wrong with my brain?" It becomes, "How do I protect an ancient brain in a modern world?" 20,000 years ago, a hunter hears something move in the bushes. He stops. His heart races. His muscles tense. His mind prepares for the worst. A moment later, the bushes stop moving. Maybe it was the wind. Maybe it was a deer. Maybe it really was a tiger. Whatever it was, the moment ended. His body recovered. His mind became quiet again. Tomorrow, he'd face another uncertainty, but only one at a time. Your world is different. Before breakfast, your phone has already vibrated 5 times. Emails, messages, headlines, missed calls, calendar reminders, different interruptions, same ancient alarm. The tiger didn't survive into the modern world, but the question it taught your brain never disappeared. Should I pay attention? Your brain still asks it hundreds of times a day, not because it's confused, not because it's broken, but because that question kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. The world changed. Your brain simply hasn't had enough time to change with it. That's why this was never really a story about tigers or emails. It was a story about uncertainty, about an ancient survival system, trying to navigate a world it was never built for. And maybe that's the most important thing to remember. The next time your phone vibrates and your attention instantly jumps toward it, don't ask, "Why am I like this?" Ask, "What ancient problem is my brain trying to solve?" Because your brain isn't trapped in the past. It's protecting your future, using rules written in the past. Your ancestors escaped the jungle. The jungle didn't disappear. It changed shape. It became deadlines, notifications, unanswered questions, and a device, small enough to fit inside your pocket. The challenge isn't to fight your ancient brain. It's to build a modern life that your ancient brain can finally feel safe living in.